feel, would I still be able to go to him?
There's no reason why you couldn't. There's no reason why you couldn't. Under the new Queensland laws, any doctor can prescribe cannabis. Whether they will or not is another thing, but any doctor can. So yes, you could go to your obstetrician and get them to prescribe for you.
So, what's the time frame for people to sort of get a GP? I'm not from Queensland, so I'm thinking seriously about moving here because my state government aren't interested at all. So, if I move here, how long do I have to wait? Is there a lot of people that are thinking about actually moving, like we have to move to America? No.
What state are you in?
What state are you in?
West Australia.
Oh boy. Good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you.
You need to move over here.
I'm coming.
Yeah, wait a while. Wait a while.
Once you're a Queensland resident, you fall under Queensland laws. So
as long as you've got a
once you
Queensland
register with the AEC for your voting and you change your driver's licence, you're a Queenslander.
Thank you.
What will be given by the doctors is synthetic, and is the synthetic the same as... Sorry, is what will be given by the doctors the synthetic?
Who wants to feel this one, Gail?
Sorry?
For you,
Sorry, I missed your question, though.
Is synthetic as good as a herb?
Synthetic good as a herb? Is that what?
Is the drugs that we'll get from the doctors synthetic? If so, is that as a higher standard?
No, well, at this point in time, what you'll get is authority from your GP. You go, he says, yes, all right, I think you're a candidate. He then has to fill in a form to become an approved prescriber. Now, that's about a 4-page application. That goes to the Queensland Health Department. Then we have to go through the TGA because there's no supply here in the country as yet. So you then have to fill in the TGA forms. One, there's a Form A and Form B. One form is for people with terminal illness and the other one is for people with like chronic pain.
The doctor can prescribe whatever he wants, whether it be whole plant or synthetic.
Well, that's up to
The doctor.
Does the doctor prescribe that though? I have no idea, to be honest, what they do.
Neither do I, because we've never looked into synthetic because as far as we're concerned, it's an inferior product.
What's happened with Lene? What did she do?
She's gone whole plant. She's got green bud and she's got full
Well, when you go
extract
through
oil.
the TGA, you actually say what you want.
Yeah, you specify. You actually specify what products
and you have to
want.
find a
Supplier.
overseas supplier, probably in Canada or Israel,
An approved supplier.
that's approved to, is a registered supplier and is approved to export. So it's a complicated process at this point in time. But what we want to do is we want people to start the process, but don't expect anything at the end. Because we need to show these people, you know, that the process itself is so ridiculous and so complicated that it needs to change. It's not going to work. And if we can clog up Queensland Health and the TGA, because the TGA are going to be getting applications from New South Wales as well, if we can clog them up, well, they're all going to be throwing their hands in the air and saying, oh, you know, there's too many people want this stuff. You know, we've got 12,000 people on our Facebook page all using it and wanting it. If 12,000 people filled in application forms, they would be just mind-boggled. You know, how are we going to deal with this, you know?
How many people have you actually helped with applications? Like, how many applications do you know are circumventing at the moment?
I don't know for sure.
No one really knows
idea.
for sure because unless someone like me comes out and puts a big post up on the Facebook
Because
group
Deb's
and
actually
says,
running a campaign at the moment. She's about to put in hers, and we're trying to get other Queenslanders to go with her, march beside her, download the forms, you know, apply to Queensland Health, start the process rolling, because they're all saying, you know, demand will quantify supply, will dictate supply.
Yeah.
And they're thinking, you know, that there's 20 to 100,000 people at the
They're
moment.
estimating being
We have
able
that
to,
many in Queensland.
they're estimating being able to grow the cannabis for the whole of Australia on how many acres is it?
5
Five-
hectares.
five hectares.
Indoors, 5 hectares. Outdoors, 15 hectares.
And they think that
That's
that
the
is going to
extent of the
supply
licences they're going
the
to.
whole of Australia. They've got no idea. They have got no idea. And the thing is, patients can't come forward because they're worried about risking arrest. You know, like we've got members who we know are treating, and who we know are supportive, but they can't even come to rallies because they are so afraid that the police are going to single them out and come to their house and knock on their door. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. I'm sorry.
What we really need is another form, another layer of licensing.
Yeah, fine.
We need to be able to, you know, a doctor to say, okay, well, you're using cannabis now, you know what you're doing, you can apply for a licence. This is what we need. We need people to write to politicians and say, this is what we need. You know, do something about it. Because if we had another layer of personal applications, we don't even care if they put all the strictest regulations on it, you know, grow indoors in a tent, put it in a locked cage in your backyard so that nobody can be, you know, demonised.
And we have made all of these suggestions to government too, by the way.
But we really need people power behind it. We need to show them that there are people out here that want this stuff. And we don't want their complicated paperwork and 19 months it took the first patient. 10 months to get through.
But getting back to your question, it's the doctor can prescribe whatever. There are no restrictions in Queensland on what they can prescribe, but personally I wouldn't be going the synthetic route.
No.
The problem is the pharmaceuticals want to control it.
Pharmaceutical companies can go jump. End of story. We just won't buy their products. You know?
How are we sure, if we're going to bring it in from overseas, how are we sure that the likes of Monsanto aren't the suppliers from offshore? Because I know for a fact that Monsanto has already genetically modified plants in probably the same way they do with corn, so you can spray it with glyphosate. Who dictates where you can get it from overseas?
You do.
But don't they have to be an approved
Yes, they do.
supplier?
Yeah.
You need to be
Under the government,
You need to do
a
the
government
research.
approved supplier.
Our government or their government?
Both. And the simple fact of the matter is, as far as your question is concerned, that's another reason why people should be able to grow their own so that they know what they're growing. They're not getting genetically modified product.
Next question.
I'm taking a spray that I got from somebody. It's got CBD in it for migraines, and it's helping. And it's having the same effect on me as a handful of codeine. So I'm using that instead of codeine now. And it's got CBD in it, so I was wondering if I should be using THC. Is that going to help any better? Or is CBD sufficient? And which one is best for cancer patients?
Where's Radic?
Yeah.
Actually, with epilepsy, they're actually finding that CBD alone only works for a short amount of time before it needs to have a THC element.
Is the CBD killing your pain?
There's more pain I need.
Yeah, so it's not killing all of your pain.
Well, I have only done it twice so far. I've only had to do it twice in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And I've got a high effect, but not high like smoking marijuana. I've done that once in my life.
If you take an endo,
wave of painkiller coming over, the same as the codeine, you could feel it washing through.
Yeah.
And I had the same effect with that. That's it, the spray.
And it's not destroying
I'd like to just add a comment if you don't mind.
Okay, Australia, just for the legal runoff, is that we have to work within the legal boundaries of the Australian law, blah, 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 blah. And obviously it's going to become a genetically modified product or an extract that can be patented that they can make money out of, all right? That's how business goes, that's how the world runs. But certainly we heard the previous speakers this morning talk about the holistic or the synergistic or the whole plant effect. It is just a plant that has over 400 ingredients, anti-inflammatories, cannabinoids, THCs, etc. So within your own legal safety, see if you can explore different options. You don't just have to have CBD. Perhaps in another country you might like to explore the vaporizing point of the other cannabinoids, which all start off at about 150 right up to THC, and you'll probably find your medical conditions will be more holistically treated and more effectively treated. Does that sound reasonable?
Very reasonable.
So, for cancer patients, which is the best one to be using?
There's no best one.
No,
No, it depends on cancer. Depends on cancer.
If we look at it from a traditional perspective, okay, there was a test done. There was a soil test done in Morocco, and they found that the more they grow the same strain in the same soil, using the same farming practices, that's very, very common by the way, the more the THC and CBD levels want to equalise in the plant. Okay, so taking that bit of information on board and we look at traditional medicine, it's a pretty safe bet to say that most of our traditional medicine would have been 50-50 THC-CBD mix. Now, I'm not saying that's be all, end all, I'm saying that's a good place to start. Alright, start at 50-50, and there's many different things. You might find that the CBD works early in the morning best, and the THC works late at night. You might find exactly the opposite to that. And you might find moods change. You might, all of a sudden, I might feel like I need some THC. Well, have it. Do what your moods tell you to do. Alright? In my opinion, the best thing to do is first of all try each one separately so you know what they do to you, your body and your ailments, and then from there you can decide which one you need for which ailment and at what time. Mix them together is fine.
You may be interested to know that on Amazon.com, the bookshop, they do sell cannabis medicine strains advice books, and they look at all the different medical conditions you might have. This is America, of course, for the health professionals, so they've got something to refer to, the latest research, and it tells you which is better, which profile.
Yeah, but that's just, again, that's just a ballpark figure, that's just a starting point. Everybody is different, everybody is unique unto themselves, and every drug, alcohol, all drugs, they affect every one of us uniquely. And that's why I recommend that you try it yourself, find out which one works best for you and what combination works best for you. Sometimes you might like a 75-25 mix of THC high and CBD low. Sometimes you might like exactly the opposite to that.
I was just wondering, two questions. First one, with the medical cannabis, when the person applies to the doctor, do they end up at the end of the process with a card that they carry with them at all to say that they're a user, a licensed user? Or
No one has any idea how they're going to do it yet.
Yeah, it's not even written yet. No one knows.
They're still working on the framework.
Just quickly, I'm from Victoria, but I went to my doctor, and my doctor's known me for a long time, and he gave me a letter that simply states Heather Gladman medicates herself with cannabis, and I carry that with me wherever I go. And that's basic proof of self-medication, and I don't think the constabulary would really argue with that if you've got one of those, so it's worth a shot.
For sure.
I've actually got a report from my doctor that says that cannabis is keeping my condition stable that I carry around as well.
Excellent, thanks for that. The other question is, I was wondering if any of you are aware of the Helen Kapelos documentary that's been released, and if you've got any comments on that, do you think that might cause a bit more of an awareness once it gets out from the private screens into the mainstream?
I think it was great.
Yeah.
I think it was a great show. They haven't got all the answers, but nobody has. And they got a few things wrong, but we all do that too. So on top of it all, it was very positive, and I think a lot of people are going to take away a good message from Catalyst in that show.
And when you see it in your cinemas, go and see it. It's called A Life of Its Own.
Anybody else got another question? No?
Not with me.
To do with the seeds, is there just like if you're going to be planting, if you want to just make a plant with CBD, is there certain seeds, like is there just straight up indica seeds? I know there's obviously hybrid seeds and stuff like that, but if you're just looking to plant hemp and CBD, is there a certain seed that you could look for, like a
Absolutely.
particular? Yeah.
Definitely, but
Yeah.
don't ask us what it is.
Yeah. I know,
There's certainly one plant that suits you in particular. You know what? Have you ever heard of Michael Pollan?
No.
He wrote a book called Botany of Desire, Nature of Desire, that's it. Okay? And it's about, how plants interact with not only other animals and insects, but with us as well. Alright? And so we take the normal story of the birds and the bees, how they help pollinate plants. Yeah? And, when you look at it, what do we do for plants? Well, there's nothing that we don't do for plants, okay? We can keep it away from, keep insects away from it, we can keep it well fertilised, well watered, we can look after its babies. So the plants, we are number one, and plants are a chemical factory. They make chemicals, alright? So these plants, all plants, have been making chemicals for us, like tomato plants, yeah? They make, and we look after that tomato plant, yeah? Potatoes the same. So cannabis is the plant that we started out cultivating, yeah? And we've had the longest relationship with cannabis. So cannabis has made these chemicals for us to continue looking after it, yeah? So the best thing to do is grow your own. When you grow your own, the plant will tune to you, your body, your frequency, because you're the one who gives it the water, gives it the love, and looks after it. So on a level that we may not be aware of, this is what Michael Pollan talks about, we have this communication with plants, and plants will tune themselves to grow the perfect tomato for you, because that's what you want. And what the plant gets in return is that you continue to grow its seeds. Yeah? So cannabis has done the same thing, and it's all about the cannabinoids and how they heal you. So we are all different. Each plant will tune itself to you. So it's important what seed you grow. I don't know about that. I think they'll just sort of all just sort of want to perform for you because they want you to keep growing. Okay, genetically wise, yeah, you can't. You could possibly the best places to look for seeds would probably be China or India, because they've been making medicines out of cannabis for thousands of years, not hundreds of years, thousands of years. There's a garden in India, in Kerala, southern India, which has got gardens that are 6,000 years old. You can look it up on the internet if you want. And there's cannabis growing in there because they've been using it as medicine for that long. So those strains, they know, they've been treating people so long, they know what kills cancer, they know what kills the common cold, they know all the strains for that. So that would be the best places where you would find those kind of information out. Apart from that, grow your own, you can't go wrong. The plant will just want to please you.
If you're looking at setting up your own small growing business, I guess when we get further down the line, is it going to be, are we going to see more of a, I guess, a network of farmers because they're going to make it so expensive to start
That depends on
producing,
how
or is
loudly
it-
all of you people start yelling at your politicians.
Okay.
You know, if you
That's
want this
basically
change,
what's gonna
if you
happen.
want some loosening of the regulations at the moment,
Well, they
then you've got to
haven't-
start making noise.
They really haven't made any regulations for us.
No,
They're making regulations now for business and business only, right? But there's such a thing as a right, a human right that we have, and it's called self-medication. Every judge knows what self-medication means. Every professional health worker knows what self-medication means because it's a human right. Okay, so they cannot stop us from self-medicating. They have to write a law that says if you want to self-medicate, get your license from your doctor or blah, 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 whoever. Okay, they haven't written that yet. So that means you're still going to get busted. Doesn't mean you're not going to get busted, but it does mean you're going to win the court case if you present a medical defence. If you present a medical defence, there's no laws against what you're doing. You can grow your own, you can make medicines yourself, and you can take it. You can, if you wanted to get, you know, you can get scientific evidence to back all that up. Yes, sorry.
When she's finished.
Okay. You can get scientific evidence to back all that up. You can also ask doctor, any doctor will probably help you if you ask them for a recommendation. All right, and you say, could you give me a recommendation to continue my self-medication with medicinal cannabis therapy? And that's probably what they'll write down. I've got 2 of them. I've taken them to court way before this, and the judges, they could not accept a medical defence case. They can now, but they couldn't before because the TGA said cannabis has no medical
Yeah, but in
use.
Queensland that's different. We don't have a medical defence in Queensland.
we don't either, do we?
No.
Well, you do now because
No, we don't.
federal law trumps Queensland law every time. Every
However,
time.
it's been written into Queensland law, and whether federal law trumps it or not, we would have to challenge that through the courts.
That's what I'm saying. You're going to get busted. I'm not saying you're not going to get busted. I'm saying this is a way that you will win the court case.
But as far as where you're
All
going
right.
to source your seeds from, nobody really knows. I wouldn't be going to China. Sorry. I'm sorry. I wouldn't be going to China, not after, you know, I mean, they're coming here to grow their food now. You know, you don't want to be sourcing anything from their countries, I'm sorry.
Information I'm talking about.
Yeah, information.
The name
not
of the strain
seeds.
that you want is information. That's thousands of years old. It's tried and proven.
And if you're looking for specific, you know, if you want to grow low THC, high CBD strains, well then you have to source those seeds accordingly. Just don't buy GMO. You know, but, you know, and every strain has different level profiles. Yes, exactly.
There's pages on our
Yeah, there's page
on our Facebook threads.
Oh, yeah, on the page.
If you're on our Facebook page and you do a search up in the top right-hand corner and just type the keywords seeds, it will bring you up all the threads where we discuss seeds. And there are lots and lots of websites overseas where you can get them, and they come in through customs, and very rarely are they stopped. If you're unlucky, they're stopped. I know lots of people that have got them from overseas, haven't had a trouble, haven't had a problem with it. So
Pay for extra stealth posts.
you know, even if you do a Google search, you know, cannabis seeds for sale, you know, because there's a lot of it going on in America and Canada and Israel and places like that where it's legal, so it's going to come up in a search. You know.
Okay, we actually have to wrap this up because we have a couple more speakers for you guys before we finish at 3 o'clock. So just a big round of applause for the panel. And if you don't have questions for them, you can also get in touch with any of us at the mcua website, and also obviously ask anybody after we finish this. We'll have 2 more speakers. I'll finish us off with just a closure, and then you're free to do whatever you want. You're always free to do whatever you want.
Just grab them.
You guys got this yet?
Not yet. Oh, actually, we've got to draw the raffle in the corner. Yes.